Hey, Dustin Hockensmith here with Greg Pickel, Penn State football here on PennLive.com. We wanted to take a moment today to look at some of these betting lines that were released by South Point Sportsbook in Las Vegas. Penn State had 3 lines released early as part of what they call the 2017 Games of the Year. Minus 19 points, a 19-point favorite at home against Pitt on September 9th. 14-point favorite at home against Michigan on October 21st, and an 8.5-point underdog at Ohio State October 28th. The Pitt line may be a point or two inflated more than what I would think, but I think that Penn State is 2 touchdowns better than Pitt for sure.
Agreed.
Ohio State, you could make an argument, 7 points, 9 points. I think 8.5 points is probably appropriate sitting here today at the end of May for that one. But 14 points at home against Michigan was by far the most surprising one here, and not really, I think it's probably one of the more surprising lines released by South Point.
Yeah, to me it was, no question about it. And then sometimes you have to remember that these lines are good for publicity as much as they are anything else. The limits are low, the action's not going to necessarily sway the sports book one way or the other. And it is the end of May. By the end of August, that line could change significantly, and by the time that game rolls around, it could be, a lot lower than where it is today. 2-touchdown favorite for Penn State at home. The whiteout game gets Penn State extra points. There's no question about that. Home field advantage obviously is worth a couple points as well. And I think the big thing is that odds makers are starting to believe in Penn State's returning pieces and what Joe Moorhead does and what James Franklin does. And Michigan lost a ton of guys to the NFL draft, and it's not necessarily completely clear how they're going to replace those guys. There's lots of talent on the roster. A lot of it's unproven. So you put those two things together, the Beaver Stadium whiteout experience, the home crowd, obviously everything that goes into a primetime game at Penn State, and the points that Penn State gets for that, combined with uncertainty with Michigan, and then a pretty certainty outside of a few positions for Penn State. I don't know if I necessarily would back the line. I can see why it's so high, though.
This is not so much a big difference on the Penn State front, because most people are looking at Penn State as a top 10 team, fringe top 5 team. It's not a huge stunner to see them favored by that much against Pitt, but I think it's good. They're swimming against the current a little bit on the outlook on Michigan, which a lot of outlets, national, whether it's sports books or publications, are viewing this as Jim Harbaugh will reload just like he always does. But I don't know that we know that for a fact. Michigan will not be the same type of team that it was last year, which was big, experienced, powerful, and really in a unique position to do what they did to Penn State, beating them 49-10 at home. This one will be at Beaver Stadium. Michigan will be adding new pieces to the mix and still trying to prove that they are who they are. Bet Online, on the other hand, has Michigan as a 3-to-1 favorite to win the Big Ten. Not a favorite, but the 3-to-1 odds to win the Big Ten behind Ohio State. So not everybody has the same outlook on Michigan. I think if you're a Penn State fan, I think sometimes Vegas knows what they're talking about. You have to take that as, maybe this is not a game that we can pencil in as an automatic loss. Maybe it's better than a coin flip. I would walk away from it feeling encouraged, and you have to think 12 games, as we're sitting here in May, Penn State's probably going to be favored in at least 10 or 11 of them. So that's something to consider. That's Greg Pickel. I'm Dustin Hockensmith, breaking down Penn State football here on PennLive.com.